Well, hi everybody. Thanks, Ken, for having me back. It's been a lot of fun today to be back on campus, and it's a beautiful campus. I forgot how nice it is out here, and you guys all go to a nice college. But it's been great getting caught up with Professor Bates and Professor Hallberg, and have the privilege of spending time with the entrepreneurial class this afternoon, and had a good time in there. I don't see too many of those students here, so that's a pro and a con. I guess the pro is that nobody's going to have to hear some of the same things twice, but the con is that if they're not here, maybe I was so bad they didn't want to come back. There's a few of them, so I guess it'll be all right. So those of you that are here, bear with a little bit of overlap. So just relax and listen. I'm going to try to just have a casual conversation with you, and I enjoy talking about business, and I assume you do too, or you wouldn't be studying it here at Houghton. But I'll try to say some things that you haven't heard before. I looked at the list of guest speakers that you've had in the past, and it's a pretty intimidating list. I'm honored to be included with all those speakers, and you've had some pretty high-powered CEOs and some managers and some very successful people that I'm sure gave you some good advice, and I'm sure they showed you how to climb the corporate ladder and really be business leaders in the future. I'm a little different than most of them in a lot of ways. First of all, it's been a long time since I've even had a job, so that's one big difference. In fact, I didn't realize Professor Bates was going to give so much of the history, but you know what I do for a living now? I rent these to people for about an hour each. That's what I do. It's not complicated. Before you feel too sorry for me, though, recognize that on a good holiday weekend, there might be 5,000 people renting one of these for $8 a pop. So do the math on that. It's pretty cool. And before that, I sold these. Okay, about 6 million of them in the years that I was doing that. So, and before that, I rented skis. I don't have a visual for that because that wouldn't fit in my briefcase, but. So I've always been drawn to pretty low-tech businesses, but they've worked pretty well. I've never believed that the corporate world is where I belong, as Ken said. I'd like to tell you it's because I'm independent and very entrepreneurial, but mostly it's because I don't think I'm smart enough to work for a big company. And but also once I've tasted self-employment and having my own business, it's hard to go back. I don't think you can go back. I like knowing that I can't get downsized. There's a lot of that been going on. I can't be put out by an obsolete business overnight. I enjoy the flexibility and the creativity involved in having my own business, and the feeling of control and accomplishment to create stuff is pretty addicting. And so I've always been a small business guy. I probably always will be. So I'd like to encourage all of you to at least consider self-employment, or at least managing in a small business setting. I'm going to just blow through my history because Ken shared kind of the nutshell version of it. So I'm not going to get too much in that, but it's easy to summarize because my 20s was spent basically in the ski business, my 30s building Shirt Masters, and now I'm happy to be in the family entertainment center business. My big dream through college when I was here at Houghton was to manage at a ski resort. I'm from Vestal, about 2 hours east of here, but my family always vacationed in New Hampshire, and I loved it there. So my goal was to graduate, get a job managing at a ski resort, preferably in New Hampshire, but somewhere in New England. So I applied to 70 ski resorts, had interviews at 6, and had 3 job offers, and took one at a ski resort called Gunstock up in Guilford, New Hampshire. Any skiers here? All right, good. A lot more than everybody skied New Hampshire? Or? All right. Gunstock hired me to manage their ski rental and repair shops. Very, very busy operations, and it's a really fun environment. And then in the summer, they had me as assistant manager of a huge campground. They had 300 sites, and so it was a good full-time year-round job for a couple of years. Now, Gunstock and the other resorts I talked to couldn't care less what I had for grades here. The reason I got the job at Gunstock was because I had managed the ski area up here for a couple of years, and I had experience on the ropes course, and I did a kind of an informal internship at a ski area in Pennsylvania. So I want to encourage you not to worry so much about grades and focus on, obviously learning stuff. Bring all the information you can out of your professors. They're smart guys. They have a lot to say, but get that out of them. Learn what you can. But focus on, get involved with things, lead things, accomplish things. No one's going to hire you to be a student. They want to hire people who can get things done and who've already demonstrated that they have leadership skills. So think about that. After 2 years at Gunstock, I dropped to just the winter season at Gunstock and then building my shirt business in the summer. And so that kept growing. 2 years after that, I resigned to go full-time with, full-time self-employment with Shirt Masters. But as soon as I resigned from Gunstock, I got a call from another ski resort called Waterville Valley that wanted me to do essentially the same job, but at a little bit bigger resort. And I declined the original offer. I really had no interest in staying in the ski industry at that point, but they persuaded me to come talk to them, and on the way there I kind of came up with a long list of criteria that I'll take this job if all these things, and it was a pretty long list that I figured there's no way they're going to agree to all that. But they had already made up their mind ahead of time that they wanted me to take that job, so they agreed to all these crazy things that I asked for. So I ended up working there for 4 more winter seasons, and through those 4 years there were 4 different owners of the resort, very different from each other. So it was an interesting time to be working there, and I learned a lot about different kind of cultures and different ways to run things, and learned a lot about the service business and learned a lot about the concept of the business of helping the guests have fun. Skiing and the ski business are 2 totally different things, and there's a lot of challenges to it that were good lessons. I learned a lot about managing seasonal employees. There's a lot of pros and cons to managing seasonal people as opposed to career people. I also got my MBA at Plymouth State University during those years, mostly because it was on my way home from work and it was just convenient to take night classes, and so I got that done. So after 4 years at Waterville, they basically said, you either need to, they wanted to give me more responsibility and essentially take over about 8 different departments and oversee a big thing, but my 4-day work weeks that I had negotiated would have to end, and my Sundays off would have to end, all those things. And so at that point I just said, all right, I got to resign and go full-time with Shirt Masters. So that's what I did. And Shirt Masters, I won't spend much time talking about the history, but basically over a 10-year period built it from a one-man show in my basement to a few years ago up to 16 employees in a brand new facility that I built. And towards the end, my goal was to really work myself out of a job and to delegate all the operations of the business to other people so that the business would have a lot of value apart from me. So that was some advice I'd gotten earlier. And since Shirt Masters really didn't matter whether I was there or not, it was easy to sell kind of at the peak of its success a few years ago, because it really had taken on a life of its own by then. So the lesson here, and I shared this earlier with the class, is to if you do have your own business, think about building the business. Think about how much the business can be worth, not just how much can you get out of it today or this week or this year. Make it so that it has value apart from you, that you are not the business. The business is its own thing. Because you have a lot more options that way. You can sell it, you can transfer it, you can keep owning it while you go on to the next thing. Just gives you a lot of options. Now I want to talk about what I'm really excited about these days is Chucksters. I think the first thing I'll do is show you a quick, give you a good idea what Chucksters is in 30 seconds. I'm just going to show you a TV ad that we did a couple years ago. And then we'll talk more about that, but hopefully you can enjoy this for a minute.
Chucksters Family Entertainment Center in Chichester is unbelievable. At Chucksters Go-Kart Speedway, every race is timed and the winner gets free ice cream. Our climbing wall has 4 routes to challenge any climber. Test your skill on the Virgin Golf Course featuring the longest hole on the planet. Take a swing in a batting cage. Knock Chuckster down and win a prize. See how high you can jump and flip on the Jumpster. Then cool off with one of 30 flavors of Blake's ice cream. Chuckster.
All right. Now Chucksters, it's just a lot of fun. I mean, I traded, let's see, Oh, well, I'll spare you the, oh, right here. My trade magazine for my screen printing industry was called the Journal of the Screen Printing and Graphics Imaging Association or something like that. And I traded that in for now it's Fun World. You know, it doesn't get any better than that. Tourist attractions and parks. It's just a lot of fun. Plus, working at Chucksters, taking cash from people as they're thanking me for building Chucksters was really addicting. It's something about collecting cash. It's very pure too. There's no accounts receivable. There's no billing. You know, at Shirtmasters, it was a relatively small number of bigger checks. You know, business to business stuff. So it was good. But there's something really pure and just more fun about, you know, you hand me $8 and I hand you a ball and you play with it for a while and then give it back and we're done. So it's been great. And in all three towns where I have one of these now, it's you know, I've kind of become a little mini celebrity, and people even recognize, like my wife will go to the store and I don't know how they know who she is, but they thank her for building Chucksters, and you know, they want to tell her their stories about, hey, I got a hole in one on the world's longest hole, and she pretends she cares and all that. But the sound, just sometimes it's fun. I just go to Chucksters kind of incognito and just hang around and listen to what people are saying, and it's just a lot of fun. You hear people laughing, you hear you know, the registers ringing, that sound that people make when they just barely miss a putt. People seeing you know, seeing families having fun together. It also, running a family entertainment center, offers a lot of variety. You know, every day is different for me. You have to be a little bit good at a lot of different things to run a place like that, and so it's very interesting. And the other thing about a Chucksters is that it appeals to everyone. Every single person is in the demographic that we're targeting for Chucksters, because everybody likes ice cream. Everybody can eat ice cream. Almost everybody can play mini golf. Sometimes I look around on the course and you see, like, you know, there's grandparents with grandchildren, there's a family, there's a couple on a date, there's some biker dudes, there's you know, some college students having a real serious competition, and they're all doing the same thing. So it just really has mass appeal. So it's a lot of fun. Now the three places I have, we have 60 seasonal employees, and again, that's different than managing career people. There's different issues in that, but for the most part, it's easy to find good staff because it's a fun place to work, and so there's definitely more pros than cons with that. So anyway, after Chucksters was open for a while, I realized that, wow, you can really make a living at this. I did sell Shirtmasters, and with part of the proceeds from that, built a second place called Jay's. Now I'm going to put Jenny on the spot here for a minute. This is Jenny Taylor, graduated here 5 years ago, and she actually came up for a summer and managed Jay's for me. Did a fantastic job, but Jay's it's a smaller version of Chucksters. It's just mini golf and an ice cream shop in a real touristy area of New Hampshire called Lake Winnipesaukee, and so that's about half an hour from Chucksters, and so we got that one going. And after that, I built the newest Chucksters is in Vestal, New York, about 2.5 hours from here. One of the guys in the class earlier had been there. Anybody played at Chucksters in Vestal, right off of Route 86? No. So we built, you know, taking the best ideas from the other places and from what I've seen visiting other places. We're building this Chucksters in Vestal, and we've had two seasons now, and it's going crazy. It's very, very busy. It's probably one of the busiest mini golf courses in the country, because it seems like there's a perpetual hour-long line just to get in. In fact, my partners, I have some partners on that one, and they hired. The lines were so long, and some people would show up and didn't want to wait in line. They ended up hiring a full-time entertainment just to entertain people while they're waiting to get in. So we have like a magician, you know, live music, all kinds of things to just keep people hanging around so they don't go home. So it's a lot of fun. We're just, actually, as we speak, we're finishing up some batting cages that we're adding to that, and those will be open for the spring. After that, we'll be adding go-karts and a laser tag arena and a whole bunch of other attractions. By the time we're done, the one in Vestal is going to be by far the biggest and I think the best. So if you get a chance, if you're ever going east, make that part of your plans. I think you'll enjoy it. I also still have a small side business called The Shirt Guy, all the years that I owned Shirtmasters, I saw a lot of people